Allow your eyes to close gently. And allow the awareness to pull deeply within. Take that power of awareness and just draw it from the world outside to the world inside. Allow the awareness to merge with your breath. Don't try to change the breath. Simply allow your awareness to merge fully into it. Be aware as the breath flows in and flows out. Like the waves of the ocean. Just in an unbroken, smooth cycle. Again, we're not trying to change it. We're simply allowing our awareness to become fully immersed in that breath. If your mind wanders, just bring it back. If it gets distracted by a sound, a thought, a sensation, a memory, whatever it may be, just draw it right back. Don't get lost in whatever that distraction is. Just draw the awareness gently back to the breath. And as you breathe, notice how on the inhalations you are you are breathing from the outer world into the inner world. You're bringing in from the outer to the inner on the inhalations. And on the exhalations, you're exhaling from inner back to the outer. Again, like that wave coming in, bringing from the outer in, and then letting go from the inner back to the outer. For the next few minutes, just make sure to hold your physical body still. Don't move. Don't fidget. Don't adjust yourself. Just for a couple of minutes, hold that physical body absolutely still. Not rigid, the breath should flow freely, but hold it still. And notice as you do that gently as you breathe, those borders of the physical body start to dissolve. Don't force it, just allow it. So notice gently how suddenly, instead of breathing from the outer to the inner, or the inner to the outer, suddenly that wall, that border, just dissolves. And there is no inner. There is no outer. There is just breathing. Again, don't force it, but just allow it. Allow that sensation of the physical body to dissipate. You've got to hold it very still for that. And then as you breathe, notice that suddenly where you end and the rest of the world begins seems to dissolve. There is just breathing. Slowly bring the palms of the hands together at chest level and gently rub them against each other. Press the palms into your closed eyes. Slowly open the eyes and lower the hands. Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together, and as this weather turns into autumn, it's just, the evenings are so beautiful. We begin, as always, with a question that's come in advance from our family, our community all over the world, and then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here has. How do you keep God at the center of your life? Is doing Parikrama in the mandir enough? So we do Parikrama, this walking around a manifestation of the divine, around an embodiment of the divine, a deity, or sometimes around the whole mandir, to remind us to keep God in the center. But as you may have noticed, our minds are quite jumpy. That's why they talk about the monkey mind. And even if I do the Parikrama, and even if I do it every day, most of us don't have a habit of going to the mandir every day, but even if we did, even if we were able to go to the mandir every day and do a Parikrama, it would start us off on a great path. But depending on what our day looks like, depending on the power of our mind, it's very likely that we might forget as the day went on. And that's why the goal becomes how to keep God in the center all day long, whatever we do. You know, we do this beautiful yajna ceremony, the fire ceremony. And the yajna ceremony that we do in the evening and also in the morning is another way of reminding ourselves, right? The fire is a symbol of the divine purifier. And we offer into it. We've got what's called samagri, or the ahuti, and we offer it into the fire. And we sit around the fire. All of these are ways to remind us, keep divinity in the center, keep purity in the center. You just offer in. But ultimately the goal is how to make your life yajna. So it's not just we do yajna, but how to make our life a yajna. Because that's the way to actually keep, God, by any name, any form, whatever your religion may be. but to keep the divine, to keep spirit, you could say, to keep truth, to keep love, to keep consciousness in the center. There's a beautiful phrase that we chant at the end of many of the mantras in yajna that says idam namam. So they say, for example, Om Indraya Swaha, Idam Indraya Idam Namam. It means, oh, divine Indra, divine being, divine energy, divine manifestation, I'm offering to you, not for me, but for you. Idam namam, not for me, for you. And we go through these mantras, offering, not for me, but for you. Not for me, but for you. And it's a way to remind ourselves, not just for the one ahuti that we do in Indra's name, or the one ahuti that we do in Agni's name, or the one ahuti we do in Soma, whatever the ahutis that we do. It's not just about one small, not even a handful, just this much of seeds. It's not about that. It's about a reminder that our lives are about offering to the divine, not for me, for you. Whatever I do, whatever I have, let it be for you. And it's not some ritual of, self-effacement or ignoring the self or anything like that. It's a beautiful divine reminder that ultimately all of what we have, all of who we are, all of what we can do is not just about accruing and acquiring more for our individual self. It's actually about giving back to that divine from whom we are not separate. So the not for me but for you is on a very basic level, because ultimately I am you. Right? There's that beautiful, beautiful line from the Ramayana when Bhagwan Ram asks Hanumanji, who are you? And essentially, Hanumanji says, when I forget who I am, when I think that I'm this, I'm your devotee, I'm your das, your servant. But when I remember who I am, then I am you. So that offering of not for me but for you is beautiful, as long as we are still living on the level of I am separate from God, I'm separate from divinity, I'm separate from spirit, I'm separate from all. But don't take it as a teaching of not for you, but only for God over here. Like you're here and give it to God, like parents tell, their children, don't eat all the cookies, share it with your sister. It's not that. Because we're not actually separate from God. So it's a reminder of what I'm doing is not just for my false self, the sense of role and title and physical body and all of this stuff. But it's actually for my higher self, my truer self, my fuller self, which is the divine. And so whatever we do, the way to keep God in the center is to remember, let your life be that offering. such that whatever you do, let it end with idam nama. Idam nama. Not for my individual self, my small, separate, individual, false self, but for my true, high, full, divine self, which is one with all. Doing it for that. I offer it to that. Every breath, every word, every minute, every moment. Because of course in that, not only are we not separate from God, but then we're of course not separate from the creation. If we're not separate from the Creator, then we're not separate from the creation. And so everyone on earth, every child, every hungry person, every sick person, every poor person, every tree, every river, well, they're us. They're part of that divine self, full self, that's one with all. So we start to live with every minute as an offering to the Creator and therefore to the creation. So it becomes a really beautiful way to live. So yeah, parikramas are great. It's a beautiful way to start your day, to end your day, to have in the middle of the day, depending on when you can get to the temple. Temple in your home, temple in the city, temple in the village. But see whether you can make every minute of your life that parikrama where you're keeping the divine in the center. That yagna where you're offering in. It gives life, it gives work, it gives relationships, it gives running errands, it gives everything a whole new meaning. Because suddenly there's a deeper purpose to it and a deeper meaning in it. Any questions? Not about that, but about anything. Yes.
Hi, good evening. I wanted to ask, how do we develop a more spiritual relationship with money that's free from being trapped in consumerism or mindsets of greed or scarcity?
Great. A spiritual relationship with money. Money is an energy. Ultimately, money is paper. You know, in India, several years ago, our Honorable Prime Minister one night announced that as of midnight that night or something, I don't remember exactly the timing he gave, but people had essentially a few hours. As of some point, a few hours from now, the 500 rupee bill and the 1,000 rupee bill would no longer be worth anything. Unless, as cash, they were worthless. Literally within like 3 hours from now. But for a period of, maybe it was a month, maybe it was 6 weeks, you were able to deposit that money into the bank, into your account, if you could prove where it came from. It was a way of eliminating as much black money as possible, as much sort of not clean money as possible. You know, people doing cash business, people keeping cash in their homes. If you couldn't prove where you got the money, you couldn't deposit it into the bank. Now, it's interesting because you've got something that an hour ago made you rich, Maybe you had stacks and stacks and stacks of 1,000 rupee bills. You were rich. Maybe you had a closet full of them. Evidently, a lot of people did. And you were rich. Now suddenly, that money is not worth any more than the paper of your notepad. So it was a very interesting thing from a perspective of just understanding our relationship to money, because it is really paper. It's only worth something as long as our governments or our economic system agree with each other that we're going to say this paper, right? I mean, this paper, I could put it up for auction. I probably wouldn't get much. But a different piece of paper is worth $100 just because it's got, 100 on it and a picture of a US president on it. One piece of paper worth nothing, another piece worth $100, simply because we've all agreed, okay, we will all agree to give you $100 worth of things for that piece of paper, but not for this piece of paper. Ultimately, though, it's all just paper. But it's the energy that that paper has. And it's an energy that enables us to get what we want, to get what we need, to take care of ourselves, to trade that money for other things. So it's an energy. Before we had money, we had a barter system. I've got potatoes, you've got rice. I need rice, you need potatoes. Or I've got potatoes, but I don't have anybody to till my field because my son, unfortunately, or my husband who used to do it, died or is sick or is injured or has left. I'll give you my potatoes, you till my field. It's an energy exchange. Everybody got what they needed. You're strong and macho to till my field, but you need potatoes. I've got all the potatoes, now I've got somebody to till my field. It's great. It's just an exchange. And ultimately, that's really what our relationship with money should be. It's an energy that enables us to move through the world exchanging something we have for something we need. Therefore, enabling someone else to exchange something they have for something they need. So if I've got a paper in my hand that says 100 on it, and we agree it's going to be $100, and you've got a bunch of vegetables and fruit, dal and rice, bread. Well, what I need is food. I give you my $100. What you need is money. Now I've gotten what I need, you've gotten what you need, we're all good. It really shouldn't be more than that. But of course, as you mentioned, it's become this massive source of fear, of greed, of discrimination based on who has how many pieces of papers and what's written on them. My papers say 100, your papers say 1, so I'm better than you are. I've got 10 pieces of papers, you've got 2 pieces of papers, I'm better than you are. It's absurd. And this is what leads to the anxiety, the fear, the hoarding. And as you say, this whole scarcity. What's happened with money is, along with our economic systems, is that we've got all of this marketing and advertising. right? If what I want is money, and what I've got are pillows, let's say, and I want you to give me your money for my pillow, well, I'm going to have to convince you that your life is really lacking without this pillow. Otherwise, you'd say, I don't need a pillow. I'd rather keep my money. But I want your money. So I'm gonna try to convince you that you are lacking in some very deep and profound way without this pillow. Now, you may or may not actually buy my pillow, but if you've got everyone who's trying to sell you something telling you that you are lacking in some way without what they're trying to sell you, you're going to buy that message that we are lacking in some profound way. And that in order no longer to be lacking, I have to buy this, that, this, which means I need a lot of those pieces of paper. And then that creates anxiety because now I need the paper, not just for something I need to fill my stomach, or it's winter time, I need a sweater, my roof is leaking, I need someone to fix it. I want to send my kid to school, I need tuition. But now I need that money to buy things to take care of my internal lack. Now I've become convinced that not only do I need potatoes, but I need new types of clothing, new of this, new that, new shoes, new handbag, this type of car, this type of mobile. Or otherwise, I am profoundly lacking inside. Now, as we sit in satsang, we think, well, of course I'm not lacking inside without, the newest model of mobile. But the truth is, if that advertisement didn't work, people would not rush to get every brand new model of phone every minute that it came out. But we do, because we've bought the message that somehow there is something lacking in us without the newest, the best. And so we scramble for more and more. But we can never actually have enough, because as long as there's advertising and marketing and commercials, we're constantly going to feel that we don't have enough. As long as there's people who have more than we do, we're going to feel like we don't have enough. And this is where this idea of scarcity comes in. Because in order to sell something, not only do I have to convince you that this is the best, and it's going to fill your holes, all the ways you're lacking. This pillow is going to take care of it. Because of course in my commercial, it's going to be me super happy, surrounded by all these people who love me, and everything is perfect because of this pillow. So you're going to want it. But then I'm going to tell you, there's only one left. Or, I'm only selling this pillow today. If you don't get it today, I'm keeping it. So, we create these marketing strategies. It's brilliant as far as a strategy to separate people from their money as quickly as you can. But what it does is it creates this pervasive sense in all of us of not only do I need more, but that there is an inherent lack of that which I need in the universe. And then it starts to extend out. Not only is there going to be a lack of the pillows that, are magic wands for my life, but we then also start to feel like there's a lack of happiness. Because on an unconscious level, if this pillow is what's going to bring me happiness, and there's a lack of pillows, or I missed the day it was available, then it means there's not enough happiness for me. I've lost an opportunity for happiness. And so we live in this myth of scarcity, not just of items, but of happiness. And what that does is not only does it make us miserable, but it actually pits us against each other. Think for a moment, just do a little experiment with me. Let's say that your friend or your colleague at work or your neighbor comes and tells you, guess what? Guess what? I just bought this brand new car. Or guess what? My son's getting married. And he's getting married to the most wonderful girl in the world. Or guess what? My daughter just got admitted to IIT or to MIT. Now, just imagine that moment for just a second. Most of us want to feel very, very happy for that person. We want to be able to congratulate them, to just have joy for them. But if you're really honest with yourself, what you'll notice is there's a tiny bit inside you that just kind of resents that person, that just kind of wishes somebody would key that car so it wasn't quite so nice tomorrow as it is today. That's just kind of waiting for it to rain on the wedding of this perfect couple. Now you think, why? It makes no sense. Why wouldn't we be able to fully, 100%, just give our love to somebody? Why wouldn't we be able to feel just full joy for someone else's joy? Because on some deep level, we've bought into this myth of scarcity. And we believe, even though it makes no conscious or logical sense, that their happiness has just taken a very large piece out of the finite happiness pie in the universe. And what that means is there's less for me. And this is why we need to look at this consciously, so that we're not operating unconsciously, and come back into alignment. You know, next week is Diwali. It's the holiday of Mahalakshmi, the bestower of prosperity. Too many people think that she's the goddess of cash. You know, that it's, oh, Mahalakshmi, please, give me money. But she's the bestower of spiritual prosperity, which is that experience of fullness, of wholeness, of abundance, whatever you have. And so it's a perfect time to come into good dharmic relationship with money, is to recognize as we pray to Ma Lakshmi that ultimately the highest prosperity isn't about what we have, but it's about how we feel about what we have. I could have millions, but if I feel like I don't have enough, I'm poor. And I could have almost nothing, but if what I want to do is share that with others, I'm rich. And that's the wealth we need to pray to Mahalakshmi for next week. So it's a perfect time to get ourselves back into that alignment with money. Otherwise, we lose our entire lives running after it. Any other questions? Yes. And we'll take this as the last this evening. एक सेकंड, वो उनके पास माइक है, फिर आ जाएंगे आपके पास.
Namaste. I just want to ask, why is it so difficult to implement? When you have all the knowledge, like we have to, offer to God, and we have to do all this. Like this is what which brings happiness. Then why is it so difficult to implement, and how do we improve it?
It's difficult to implement because of this thing called Maya. This illusion that keeps pulling us out of our truth. We know the path to real happiness is spirituality. But you walk out into the world and everything is shining and blinking and calling you. Come here, buy this, do this, you'll be happy. And so we get swept up. It's very bright, it's very loud, it's very compelling, and so we get swept up by it. But don't worry. Don't get upset with yourself. It's like meditation. We get distracted, we come back. You get distracted, just come back. But use also your power of introspection to remind yourself every day. At the end of the day, check in. When you were living spiritually, when you were offering to God, how did it feel? And when you were not, how did it feel? And just ask yourself, look back over the day and really allow your conscious mind to become really clear that actually you are happier. You are actually more at peace. You are actually enjoying your life more. It's not a burden. It's not a drudgery. It's not like studying in school a subject that you hate because, you want to get into college and so you've got to get an A in this class. It's actually something that when we do it, the rewards are immediate. We feel happier. We feel more at peace. If you ask people to list the 10 best moments of their life, just think about it in your own mind, the best moments of your life. They're all going to be moments that are rooted in connection. Connection to the divine, connection to yourself, your true self, connection to others on a very, very deep level of a soul-to-soul connection. Nobody's best moment in life was when they got a new car. Nobody's best moment in life was when they got a raise or the, interest rates went up or stock market went up and so now they've got, some more money in the bank. These are not the best moments of our life. So use your own power of contemplation, of introspection. So it's not just you're doing it because you came to satsang and I said you should, or because you read a beautiful scripture and the scripture said you should. Think about it purely in a selfish way. It's actually what's bringing you the greatest joy. And so naturally we all want more of the real joy. So run after those moments, create those moments. Make that your priority. Once you become really clear that this is not where your happiness comes from, it's going to be hard to convince yourself to run after it more and more. But you just have to keep remembering, keep remembering. And slowly you'll find that you're making those right choices. Beautiful. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. A beautiful morning and day to our family joining us from all over the world. And I look so forward to being together again with you all tomorrow. And so much love to you all.